Is everybody good? Okay. Good evening, and welcome to the Anaheim Planning Commission meeting of June the 3rd, 2024. My name is Lucille Kring, and I'm the chair of this commission. As a reminder, the Planning Commission meetings are now broadcast on all of our channels, including the web and Anaheim TV Channel 3. First order of business is to salute our flag, and tonight, Commissioner Walker will lead us in the flag salute. Please rise.
Will everyone stand and salute the flag? Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner. May we please have a roll call?
Commissioner Kelly?
Here.
Commissioner Castro?
Here.
Commissioner Walker?
Present.
Commissioner Perez?
Here.
Commissioner Lieberman?
Here.
Commissioner Tran Martin? Here. Chairperson Kring?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Now I would like to ask Scott Combs to please introduce our brand new planner.
Thank you, Chair Kring. We do have a new planner that started with us last week, and I'd like to introduce Stacy Tran to you. Stacy's right here. Stacy joins us from the city of Irvine, where she had spent 20 years as a planner there. So we're very happy that she has joined us. She's a senior planner and will be on the current planning team. So you will be seeing more of her making presentations for projects in the future. So join me in welcoming Stacy.
Welcome. We hope you're here for another 20 years in Anaheim. Okay. If everybody would please silence your electronic communications so it doesn't interfere with the speakers. Also, too, back of the room, the doors are automatic, so if you get close to them, they will constantly open and close. So when you leave, please leave as quickly as possible so we don't get that back and forth. And tonight we have 2 public hearings on our agenda. And if you would like to speak on an item, please fill out a yellow card. You can get them at the back of the, there you go. Oh, the city clerk. Just go over there and hand it to one of the people. Yes, good question. So if you want to talk on an item, please fill out one of those cards. And if you are supporting the item, please put support. If you do not, put you don't. And if you're neither, just put down neither. And in accordance with the Planning Commission procedures and rules of order, we will take speakers in the order in which they are given. Means we will take those in favor first and those opposed later. Before we start the public hearing, we provide an opportunity for any member of the public to speak to the Planning Commission about any item that is under the purview of the Planning Commission, but does not have to be on the agenda tonight. So if anybody would like to speak on an item, please just raise your hand. Okay, seeing none, we will start with the public hearing. I will now ask the Planning Commissioners for any disclosures they wish to make.
I have one. I did a site inspection on number 2.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no others, the Planning Commission, whatever the vote is, it will be final unless in 10 calendar days an appeal is filed with the city clerk. The appeal deadline for both items will be Thursday, June the 13th at 5 o'clock. Appeal forms and information are available on the city clerk's webpage. Now we'll begin the public hearings and ask the staff to present item number 1, and that will be Planner Thomas Gorham, and then the applicant will have time to present that will be Henry Dang. So Mr. Gorham?
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Kring, members of the Planning Commission. This is a request for approval of a tentative parcel map to subdivide one existing residential lot into 3 residential lots for future single-family residential development. This development application number 2020-00294 at 1204 North Brookhurst Avenue. As shown in this slide, the subject property is approximately 0.44 acres in size. It's developed with a single-family residence and a detached garage that's in the process of going through demolition permits to remove those structures from the property. The property is in the RS2 single-family residential zone and is designated for low-density residential land uses in the general plan, and the surrounding uses around the subject property are all single-family residences. This is an aerial view of the subject property looking east with the street frontage. The property has street frontage on North Catalpa Street to the east and North Brookhurst Avenue to the west, as well as an alley to the south. In 2018, the city completed a widening project on Brookhurst adjacent to the subject property. This widening project expanded Brookhurst to its ultimate right-of-way, and a block wall and sidewalk were constructed adjacent to the subject property. There's no further right-of-way is required from this property as part of this development application. This is the tentative parcel map that's before you. Again, the applicant proposes to subdivide the existing property into 3 lots for future single-family residential development. The proposed lots would comply with the low-density residential general plan land use designation, which allows for up to 6 dwelling units per acre. The general plan permits dedicated streets other than arterial highways to be included in establishing the maximum density and residentially designated areas. And the area up to the center line of the street shall be used to establish density. The total area used for establishing density for this project is 0.47 acres, which includes the area up to the center line of North Catalpa Avenue. The proposed subdivision is consistent with the low-density residential designation and would result in a density of 6.3 dwelling units per acre within the 6.5 dwelling units allowable range by the general plan. The lots have been designed to meet the RS3 single-family residential zone development standards, which is one of the implementing zones for the low-density residential land use designation. The RS3 zone requires a minimum lot width of 50 feet and a minimum lot area of 5,000 square feet. As illustrated in the table and in your staff report, each of the 3 lots meets the minimum 50-foot lot width and also the minimum 5,000 square foot lot area. The lots range in size from 5,750 square feet for lot 1, 6,419 square feet for lot 2, and 7,090 square feet for lot 3. Future single-family homes and accessory dwelling units would be permitted on each lot through the building permits process, which would be by right, and no entitlements would be required, as those are permitted uses in the subject zone. And it would be subject to all applicable development standards in the zoning code, including but not limited to setbacks, parking, lot coverage, building height, fences and walls, and landscaping. The site plan on this slide is included for illustrative purposes only and reflects a potential future development on the 3 lots developed under the RS3 standards, which again may include a single-family home and an accessory dwelling unit on each lot. The proposed lots would have adequate street and alley access to allow for future development of the single-family homes on each of the proposed lots. Lots 1 and 2 would have access from North Catalpa Avenue, and lot 3 would have access from the alley to the south. As outlined in the staff report, staff believes that the necessary findings exist to approve the tentative parcel map. The proposed subdivision would create 3 new parcels for future single-family residential development consistent with the low-density residential general plan land use designation, including density and the development standards of the RS3 zone, which again is an implementing zone for the low-density residential general plan designation. The proposed lots would be consistent with the lot size and dimensions of other single-family residential lots in the vicinity and would have adequate access to a public street or alley as required by the code. Staff recommends that the commission approve the application subject to the conditions contained in the resolution, and the applicant is here tonight to answer any questions from the commission, and staff is always also available to answer questions. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Gorham. Did the commissioners have any questions for the planner? Okay, seeing none, we'll invite the applicant up. is, good evening. You can come up. Come up to the microphone, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to apologize about my attire. I should be more respectful.
And that's okay, you're fine, don't worry about it.
With me, I have John. He's the owner of the project. I am just a helper. I'm helping him to go through the process. And I'm here today to answer any question or concern that you may have.
But do you have anything to add to what Mr. Gorham already said?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Okay. Commissioner Walker has some questions for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, sir. We've gotten some comments about homelessness and problems with the police on the property. Can you address how this project might correct or?
Yes, sir. It has also been our concern because the homeless go in there made a big mess and that bothered the neighbor. So what we did so far is I have with me here the contract we signed with the demolition company.
Okay.
And right now, they are in the process of, we already have the survey and the report on asbestos. So the next step is they're going to remove the asbestos, and once it's removed, they're going to go along with the demolition. And to my best estimate, I think everything will be done within 1 month.
Okay. Is this house vacant currently?
I beg you, sir?
Is the house vacant currently?
Yes, sir, it is.
And is there a fence around the property?
Yes, sir. And they jumped the fence. They broke down the garage door. They just came in there, and we did our best.
Do you know how long the property's been vacant?
Well, it has been vacant, I believe, 4 years now. Okay, and the reason why has been so long because the first one that handled the project didn't do it well, so he was removed. And the second one came in, 3 months after he came in, he was drowned in Catalina. And I'm the third one coming in to help with no payment.
And I know, like, you may not know this or not, but when you have the 3 lots built out, are you planning to sell them, or what's the anticipated plan?
Well, currently we have already worked with the architect, and we have the floor plan, everything laid out. And once your decision is in our favor, we're going to proceed with the building application and so on.
Okay. No further questions.
I have a question. How long have you owned the property?
Well, to my well, they have owned this for 5 years now.
For 5 years, and you've never tried to sell it or do anything to the property in 5 years?
No, because their intention is to build a house there. Okay, either sell it or rent it out. And I think that decision would shorten the vacancy of the lot and the house. Because once we sell it to someone else, they're going to start a process all over again. And it takes much longer.
Okay. Any other questions from any commissioners? Okay, thank you so much.
I thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, anybody, do we have any yellow cards? You want to call them, Heather? This is to open the public hearing. No, wait, Heather will call you.
Janet?
Come on up.
Hi, I'm sorry, I've never done this before.
It's okay. You want to pull the mic up a little bit so it's closer? Right.
Thank you for your time and listening to us.
You're welcome.
I'm representing the neighborhood. I live next door to this house.
Sorry, what is your name?
Pardon?
What is your name?
Oh, Janet Conley. I live with the residents next door to the property. We've been in contact many times with the owner. These are not the owners. Henry is not here. he is a very nice man, and he does try, but he does not live in the area and does not plan to live in these houses. He is going to either sell them or rent them. Our concern with this property is we have multiple times, as you have said about the homeless, we have a lady right now, I have videos, she lives back there. She lives in the alley, and that's my concern. It's not going to rectify the alley issue, having a house there. You would think with cars driving up and down, she truly believes she lives there. There are kids right now that live in the house. There's even a 9-year-old little boy that we see coming and going from the house. How they enter the house is through the garage. It's unlocked, it's not secure. There's no fence there. They just open up the garage, walk in, and walk out. The house has been destroyed multiple times, doors torn down, tarps put up. Drugs are being sold back there. They've even had times where the police have come out because stolen cars were in the garage, stripped, stolen. We caught someone in the backyard or in the alley stripping a car. We turned on our alarm. It's been really a really difficult thing for the neighbors, and it has been 5 years. It is how long he's had it. And he has had some issues with COVID, where then, things shut down, and then it was hard to get permits, and he's been trying. They had issues with trying to get concerns about it being a house that shouldn't be torn down. But I'm sorry, it's slipped my-
Historic.
Yes, a historic house. So he's trying, and he's running up against things, but what he's not trying to do is get the house secure. So the house is not secure. He just comes over and says, oh, never boards the windows, never boards the doors, the gate's constantly broken. He thinks by putting up a sign that's going to deter people. We've even mowed the front yard for him because we want it to at least look decent as best as we can. Our biggest concerns as neighbors is the ADU units. And I know that now it's legal to have ADU units, and I get that. So having 3 lots and 3 ADUs, where are these people going to park? There's no parking. The people coming into the alley, where are they going to park? You're going to have 2 cars coming into their driveway, into their garage, correct. That ADU unit, where is he going to park? There's no parking in the alley. It's just an alley. Also, they can't park in front of the house. There's 2 driveways they're going to have. There's probably sufficient parking for 2 cars up there, but there's not sufficient for more than that. So if you have 1 resident in each ADU, it's going to be tough. Our neighborhood doesn't have driveways. The whole side of the street on Catalpa, we are the only house with a driveway, and that's because we built it years ago.
Please wrap it up.
Pardon?
Please wrap it up. Your time is up, so just.
Oh, I'm sorry. So our biggest concern is parking.
Okay,
On street sweeping days, on trash days, trash cans, where are they going to go? Having that many units is going to cause a problem, an
okay.
impact.
Thank you.
Sorry.
It's okay, no, you're fine. Heather? That's it? Staff, do we have any pictures of these things that she spoke about? I mean, it's one thing to read about it, but it's another thing if you have pictures. We have some pictures, but what she's describing sounds a bit more drastic.
Yeah, I only have pictures of the exterior of this site and what was sent in the emails from the neighbors. But I have, if you want to pull up just so you get a perspective on if you haven't been out there, this is the front of the property with the existing house and the garage. The house is historic, so it took them time to get a historic survey before they were able to go forward with the demolition permit.
Well, is it considered historic?
No, it's not considered historic, so they were cleared to demo it, but it took them a little bit of time to get that survey done and get all that paperwork in. And this is looking from the back, so you can kind of see the house is in pretty bad shape. I was out there today, and I did see signs of people like were in the alley doing, trash and whatnot. From staff's perspective regarding this problem with homelessness, we believe that developing the property will obviously help eliminate the nuisances going on in the property. There'll be 3 new houses there, which will help obviously eliminate the people coming in and staying at the vacant property. So that's a plus. As far as the parking issue goes, that would have to be developed through the building permit process. We're just looking at the subdivision for this particular project. They would be required to meet all the parking standards for single-family homes and ADUs. That's required by the code. So that would be checked as they go through the building permit process. That's pretty much the perspective I can have from staff, but our understanding is that if this project moves forward and the project gets developed, it would alleviate a lot of the nuisance problems that are going on there currently. I think you'll have more eyes on the alley as well with new houses back there, things like that. So that's something that could be beneficial for the neighborhood if it is developed.
How close is the nearest bus station?
I believe it's less than 1,500 feet. So from an ADU standpoint, the ADU would not require parking because of that standard in the code. A state law requires no parking for ADUs if they're within 1,500 feet of a bus stop. So in this case, if they chose to not put extra parking for the ADU, they would be allowed to do that through the building permit process.
And see, that's how I struggle too, because they do not require parking, and to these people, where are they going to park? In their neighborhood, across the street? There's no permit parking out there. So they're going to be wherever they can find a spot. You have to always be careful for whom you vote, because the ADUs are causing a lot of problems. Okay, Councilmember Lieberman.
I was actually going to kind of say exactly what Mr. Gorman just said about our hands are basically tied with future development of ADUs and, how much parking is required. And in most cases, lately, it's zero. But we're stuck with it. We're stuck with it. And again, you also mentioned, I think, the development of 3 homes and 3 ADUs on this lot is going to take care of the homeless issue. The homeless issue in the alley is, I don't live there. I'm not, familiar with it on a day-to-day basis. But to me, an alley is the public right-of-way, and that's a city issue, not the homeowner's issue. But maybe I'm wrong here. So I just want to throw my 2 cents in. Thank you.
That's fine. Is Mr. Dang available to come to one of these meetings? Because as they said, you're not the owner.
Actually, Mr. Dang is a partner. He's a partner, Mr. Dang. And can I make a comment about ADU?
Sure.
Now, ADU we show on the drawing there, right? It's just we are just thinking out loud, right? And right now, we're trying to get the subdivision approval. But when it comes to ADU and housing, we're going to have to submit it to the building to get a building permit. At that point, they say, hey, Hugh, no, you can't do it. Then we won't do it.
Okay, so you're okay with our not approving the ADUs?
Well, we will try to apply for it. And if it's rejected,
Okay,
then we come along when we accept the decision
okay,
of the building department or planning department.
okay. Commissioner Castro has some questions.
Yes.
So I agree that developing the lot is going to help the homeless issue that you're having right now.
Yes.
My question is, once it's demoed and you start construction, have you discussed having security at night?
Oh, yeah, no doubt, because we got to have somebody kind of, we build a kind of a little dwelling there so we can stay there, keep an eye on old equipment and everything. No doubt. I built a house for myself before, and we need it.
Okay,
Yeah,
good. So that'll help with the
yeah,
people, hopefully.
yeah. Well, by all means, we're going to have somebody sleeping there, stay there overnight. Otherwise, all equipment would be gone the next day.
But that's just during construction.
Yes. Also, just to let you know that currently, the front gate will have double lock. You have to open the first lock to get to the second lock to open it. But they just jump the fence, they just knock down the door, and we try our best.
So why isn't there security at this point?
Well, Nobody ever mentioned that we should have a security there. And it can be really, really costly. We didn't even think about having security there because we kind of thinking that we reported the police, right, many times. And I thought maybe the police department would help us with that one. But maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, so if this is approved, you had said this will be demoed within 30 days, right?
Yes, that's
And-
our goal, 30 days.
And when would your construction start?
Well, normally, this is my, based on my experience, I would say once the demolition is done, we already have the preliminary drawing for the construction, right? So from the preliminary all the way to the drawing that we can submit to see, it probably takes somewhere between 3 to 6 months, depending on how we have to manipulate and depend on how we have to deal with the public utility, electricity, water supply. And another issue, I think, is this. The Katanpa Avenue, well, not much we can do until January next year. Because if we touch it, we have to rebuild the whole street.
Say that again, you have to do,
To my understanding, the Katanpa Avenue, right? If we, during construction, if we have to cut Katanpa Avenue or the sidewalk, at this point, it's very expensive. But starting January next year, I think we can do it without rebuild the whole Katanpa Avenue.
is that correct, Scott?
I'd have to check with Public Works to determine, understand new curb cuts and sidewalk construction.
I think through the chair, that typically there's, when there's been improvements on a street, there's called a moratorium on any cuts into it because it's new construction. They don't want it to be cut. So I think if there is a moratorium on this one, it may expire in January, and then they can go ahead and do cuts after that moratorium expires.
Okay,
That moratorium expires April of next year.
April of next year. So you're talking 10 months. Okay. Would you consider putting a security guard there now to help with the neighbors? Because we have wonderful police. They're
Yeah.
great people. Unfortunately, they are so busy that this would take a low priority.
Well, right now, the owner of the project is overseas. All I can do is I'm going to talk to him. I can make decision. I cannot make decision for him.
Okay.
I can only be here to answer all the questions and concern. Regarding your question, I'm not authorized by the owner to provide with
Okay.
accurate answer.
When will he be back?
He'll be back here on the 22nd of this month, ma'am.
Okay, so it's only a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Okay, we have some more questions. Commissioner Walker?
I just wanted to reiterate that it's my belief that even tearing down this house will be a great deterrent for the homeless. But I would also echo the chairman's comments. I would really think some sort of security on this property on a regular basis would go a long way toward
Well,
encouraging us to vote the way you want.
yeah, well, actually, we lock the door, we lock the garage, right? We cut the electricity, we cut the water. We did everything. I mean, when they go in there, they don't have water, they don't have electricity. We lock the front gate. We did everything. And in most of the case, people I know, when they have a vacant house, they don't hire security. And in some case, even the house you have security, you turn around, they break in.
Unfortunately, these people are extremely creative.
Yes.
So they'll find a way to get water.
Yes.
They'll get their own generator, so even though you've done your best. Okay, Commissioner Tran Martin, please.
Thank you. Thomas, may you please clarify, the decision before us today is about the parcel subdivision. That is the decision.
That's correct, yes. Only the parcel map is what you're considering this evening.
Okay.
And the findings in the resolution are strictly for the parcel map.
So for any future development, single-family home, two-story home, ADU, whatever it is that, when that goes through the building permit process, is that an administrative process, or does that come back?
Yeah, we consider it by right, so it's allowed by right under the zone, so it does not come back to the planning commission unless there would be a variance or some other request that requires your review.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
If I may, Chair Kring, and for the benefit of the public, so there is an open code enforcement case on the property. We do have code enforcement staff here who can answer questions. The code enforcement case is moving along pending on successful demolition of the building. We are understanding the next step is pulling the permit with AQMD, which should be coming here shortly after the asbestos testing. So I would encourage the property owners to move expeditiously with that. Otherwise, the code enforcement action is in place to continue.
Thank you so much.
I'll move the item. I'll move the item.
Second.
Okay, please vote. We have a first and a second, so please vote.
Can I make one more?
Oh, please.
Well, I believe that once the demolition is done within a month, okay, we don't really need security anymore because it's an empty lot. Right?
Well,
If that doesn't prevent the homeless to move in, then what else can we do?
well, that's up to you. We're not putting it as a condition.
Yes.
You don't have security now. Nobody's made a comment to put it in for
Yes.
approval. But you've seen people, the homeless are very ingenious. They can bring tents out, just making a comment. So you can go and not do any security, and then maybe you'll decide you need some. So we're going to leave that up to you.
Well, you know, that's maybe an easiest way and least expensive way for us is we're going to throw in a pit bull.
A big what?
A pit bull.
Oh, pit bull. Well, I was going to ask if you wanted to.
Yeah,
No,
pit bull will do the job.
Pit bulls are very nice dogs. It's the owners that create the
Or say
problem.
the German Shepherd, let it run in there and,
I was going to suggest maybe you get a dog or two, but
yes,
I wouldn't do that right now because there's also liability.
yes, yeah. But we're going to try to be creative so that our neighbor will be happier with us. We always try to keep happy neighbor.
Okay, well then I think the best thing to do to keep happy neighbors is you have a neighborhood meeting and tell them what your plans are.
Yes, yes, I will. When the owner come back from overseas, I will ask him to have maybe an appointment with her, explain it to her, our intention,
But
what we're
not
trying to
just
do.
her,
The whole neighborhood,
the whole
yes.
neighborhood,
Yes,
yeah, and you bring coffee and donuts and
yes,
you have a talk.
yeah. Barbecue, cook out,
Whatever you want to do.
yes, a few beer. Yeah,
Okay, if you do that, I'll come. But, okay, so I actually would not wait till he came back, because he won't be back until the end of the month.
Yes.
I would do that as soon as you possibly can.
yes. So for the time being, I hope that your decision about subdivision will be in our favor for the time being. And it's, we've been trying to get this for 4 years now. And then, it will be followed by construction of houses.
Okay, well, we wish you the best of luck. We have a motion and a second on the floor, so all we have to do now is vote.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I pray God.
there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, please vote.
Motion carries with 7 yes votes.
Well, congratulations, and go talk to the neighbors and have donuts and coffee. You won.
I won.
You won, see? We all voted for you. Oh, it's gone.
Go knock it down.
Can you put it?
Go knock the house down.
Okay.
Yes.
So I really thank you for your approval, your decision in our favor. And I don't really know how to thank you. That's good enough. Thank you, zillion time.
Singing time, okay.
Wish all of you a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much, and back at you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, item number 2. Ivan Araco will tell us about it from the city's point of view, and applicant Carl Hu will tell us about the business side.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair. Members of the Planning Commission, my name is Ivan Orozco, and I will present item number 2 this evening. This item is a request for a conditional use permit to permit a new service station and convenience store, and a variance request to permit a landscape setback less than required by the zoning code for the property located at 727 Southeast Street. The subject property is nearly half an acre in size and is currently developed with a service station and convenience store. The property is located in the industrial zone and is designated for low, medium residential land uses in the general plan. The surrounding land uses include single-family to the east, multifamily to the north and south, and industrial uses to the west. This is a current photo of the property looking in the northwest direction. The applicant proposes to demolish the existing convenience store and fueling canopy and construct a new convenience store and fueling canopy with 4 dispensers. The 4 existing driveway approaches will be consolidated into 2 code-compliant driveway approaches, 1 for each street frontage. Parking is provided throughout the property with spaces located to the north and to the west, as well as under the fueling canopy. A new trash enclosure and all new signage is also proposed. The proposed convenience store and fueling canopy would improve the site with a design in modern contemporary style. The convenience store would be finished with stucco and stacked veneer, aluminum windows, and canopies. The fueling canopy would include similar construction material for the columns to match the building. The convenience store is proposing to operate 24 hours a day. No sale of alcoholic beverages is proposed as part of this request. As part of the project, the applicant is also requesting approval of a variance to allow a reduced landscape setback. The code requires a 15-foot wide landscape setback along all street frontages. As you can see on the site plan in the shade of green, a 5-foot wide landscape setback is proposed along Southeast Street, while an 8-foot wide landscape setback is proposed on East South Street. A variance recognizes that there may be individual properties that, because of its location, size, irregular shape, or unusual topography, cannot be reasonably developed if all development standards for the zones are strictly applied. The small size of the lot, which includes a reduced lot size due to a required 12-foot dedication along Southeast Street, makes it difficult to meet all the development standards while providing adequate landscape setbacks for the proposed service station. Staff believes that granting the conditional use permit and the variance to allow a reduced landscape setback, subject to the recommended conditions of approval, would have a positive community impact as it would improve the appearance of the site and result in a positive investment for the area. The reduced landscape setback is designed in a manner that is sensitive to the adjacent properties. Based on the analysis included in the staff report and the findings contained in the draft resolution, staff recommends approval of this request. This concludes staff's presentation. Please note that staff did receive a letter and an email from residents in the area expressing opposition to the project. That correspondence has been distributed to the Commission for consideration. The applicant and city staff are present this evening to address any questions.
Thank you, Ivan. Any questions for Commissioner Lieberman?
Just a quickie, could you show that photo again of the existing service station, please? So, okay, so there is 0 landscaping as it sits today?
That is correct.
Just confirming, thank you.
No other questions? Okay, if the applicant would like to come up, please. Good evening. You're Mr. Who? Welcome.
Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen of the commission, my name is Carl Hoy with Travis Companies. That's okay, it happens all the time. I am before you tonight as the applicant for this project, along with, or also as the agent for G&M Oil, who is the owner and operator of this station. Over the past several months, we've had not only the opportunity, but the pleasure to work with staff from various departments here at the city. We thank them for all of their hard work on this project and for ultimately getting this project before you today for your consideration and approval. In saying that, I respectfully request your approval of the project. We have received a copy of the staff report, the resolution that's before you today, the conditions of approval, along with the exhibits as part of the staff report, and are in complete concurrence with the findings and the recommendations of the staff report and the resolution. I am available to answer any questions you may have or to address any comments that may come up during oral communications for this item. Thank you very much.
Okay, I have a question. What were the hours for the gas station that's currently there?
24 hours.
Till 24?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from commissioners? No, I was asking if my commissioners had any questions. Okay. Nobody else on your side here to speak? No. Okay, Heather?
Leslie Anderson?
Good evening, welcome.
Good evening. I don't want to apologize for my attire because I wear shorts everywhere I go unless it's a marriage, a funeral, or a job interview, and that doesn't qualify here. I've lived in the neighborhood off of Crestbrook since 2008. I've owned the property since 1996. We do not need another convenience store in the area. There's a convenience store off of Santa Ana and East Street, which is a quarter-mile away. And I see the additional traffic and the people traveling through the neighborhoods to get to the 7-Eleven store because there isn't enough parking. I see it on a daily basis because I go for a walk every morning. And there's not enough parking for that 7-Eleven. There's not going to be enough parking for this convenience store. The FBI in February of 2024 put out a thing. It states, according to the FBI, 4.5 of all reported violent crime in 2022 took place at a gas station or convenience store. I do not want a convenience store near my house. The people in the area don't want a convenience store near their house. If it was next to your property, you wouldn't want it either. Again, there's a convenience store a quarter-mile away off of Santa Ana and East Street. We do not need one on South Street. There's no reason for it. I don't want it, and nobody in the community wants it. Maybe business does, but this area, there's business and there's residential in the whole area. And I think it's inappropriate for you guys to allow a larger convenience store. That store that's been there, the size of that store has been that same size since I've owned the property. In fact, the only reason is they're trying to make it a convenience store now is because Chevron bought it. Before, it was a smaller, thrifty gas station or something like that. I strongly disapprove of you trying to make a larger convenience store, again, for the crime, the lack of parking, and everything I've stated before. I came before the city council and I wrote a letter to you guys about the condominiums you're building across the street, and you assured me there'd be enough parking. Oh, there's gonna be enough parking, but people are parking in my neighborhood because there isn't enough parking at the condos that were built across the street. I should have brought the letter in. If you want me to, I can send the letter to you. I sent to the city council, and you assured me there'd be parking, and there wasn't. People come across the street and park in the neighborhood property because the condos that you guys allowed to be built there didn't have enough parking, and we knew it when it happened. And now you're talking about putting a convenience store there where there's not going to be enough parking and people are going to be walking across the street. If you don't believe that, just go over to 7-Eleven off South Street and East Street at like 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning and watch the people walk across through the neighborhoods to get to the 7-Eleven store because there's not enough parking. It's going to be the same problem here. I don't want it in my neighborhood. I hope you address this problem and do not pass this. It's not good for the neighborhood. It's not good for me. And I don't appreciate the fact that they're trying to change the size of the convenience store. It's been the same size since I've owned the property. There's no reason for it, except for just greed. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? That's it? All right, I'm going to close the public comment. And what's the pleasure of the commissioners?
I'll move the item.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion carries with 7 yes votes.
Okay, well, good luck. You're welcome. Okay, commission updates. I just want to wish all the fathers here a wonderful Father's Day, because we won't be meeting till actually the day after Father's Day. Our next meeting will be Monday, June 17th at 5 o'clock. Scott?
Thank you, Chair Kring. Yes, on that June 17th meeting, we will be, the item before you will be the OC Public Cemetery.
Oh,
On July 1st, we have 2 items. One will be a new drive-through restaurant, and the other will be a workshop for the Hills Preserve Project. That is the project there that is proposed in Deer Canyon.
and before we go, you said, I think it was the last council meeting, they were going to relook at the convenience store at the corner of Orangewood and Harbor. We approved it and somebody appealed it.
Yes,
What was the outcome?
they did approve that project.
We approved it too.
Yeah, there was some additional work that the property owner agreed to revise the construction and the plans that they'd had to revert back to the original approved number of rooms. That was one of the issues at question, was the additional number of rooms that were unpermitted. So they were going to revise that and bring it back into conformance with the originally approved set of plans.
Okay, thank you so much.
Scott, I have a question. For the cemetery, is it just the public section of it, or is it the veteran portion as well?
It is the cemetery project as a whole would encompass both of those, but is the applicant is the Orange County Cemetery District. Yeah.
Okay, well, with having nothing else to discuss, with that, we are adjourned.